What could go wrong on a Flame Central podcast powered by Alcova Mortgage without Matt Warner? What could go wrong?
I mean, it's like when the cat is away, the mice will play. No, I miss my old buddy, Matt.
I know, it's been a while.
I know.
You were on vacation.
You know what I did for him?
What?
I did it yesterday. So he won his, I'm going to post about this too, because it's very special.
Are you going to ask me to cut this off? Like,
Yeah, we might cut this
at,
off.
At 8 p.m. on a Monday night?
Yeah.
Like when I'm
so
like, I have
Matt
the Flame Central podcast in my back pocket.
Matt won the JPL championship. And so,
what?
Well, he won his division JPL championship. I think he won.
He retired on top.
So he took his shoes, he tied the laces up together, he hung them over the fence, and they've been sitting there for a long time. So yesterday I was over there cleaning up the courts, and I took the shoes and I put them in the back corner of the championship, where the championship match was played, on top of the fence to sit there forever, through rain, through wind, through storms, through summer, through fall, through winter, through spring. Matt Warner
will forever
will always be looking down upon the championship court at the JPL.
I feel like we need to like spray paint them gold or something.
Go Michael Johnson style with them.
Yeah, let's do that. Hey, we have a lot coming your way on this edition of the Flame Central podcast, powered by Alcova Mortgage. Co-defensive coordinator, special teams, Kyle Krantz is in the house. We have an interview with him.
We always get the top dogs.
We always get the top dogs.
Always get the top dogs, Flame Central podcast.
Can you believe we are, I can't do math right now, but what is it?
Many.
31 minus 12, how many days away from
what would that be, Emily?
20?
I am a mortgage banker. I should be able to figure that out. 19 days away.
19 days away from kicking off the 2024 season. You haven't even been over to practice.
Yeah, I finished all my summer trips. I finished my summer trips.
Yeah, this sounds like I am going to three-peat. A three-peat is in my future for the Flames Fantasy League, which we will be doing. It will be on next week's Flame Central. So it'll be on 2 weeks from now's podcast. Yeah. But then it'll be on next week for the Flame Central show. So will be some exciting stuff.
Last year, I didn't take it that serious, right?
This is our fifth year, Joe.
This year, because of what you've done and how not just won, like you've dominated. You dominated last year, right?
Yes. I think I beat you guys like week
I'm dialed in this year for fantasy football. Flames fantasy football, I am dialed in. You're going down.
Flames Nation, just to remind you, this is going to be our fifth year. Joe has yet to win. So we're sending in applications at flamecentral@liberty.edu. If you are an analyst and know anything about football and any of our players and would like to join our broadcast, flamecentral@liberty.edu.
That's unfair. I got bit by the injury bug.
Matt has won back-to-back years, and then I've won back-to-back years.
Really?
So, yeah.
I'm dialed in this year.
You have never won.
I'm going for all inside
We'll talk
info.
a little Live Golf. The Greenbrier is happening this Thursday. Another Flame called up to the big leagues. We'll talk about that as well. Nice. But first, let's talk about some Flames football. The Hero Sports Group of 5 national poll came out, and Liberty landed in third in the top 5. Yeah. So, number one, Boise State. Number 2,
Memphis.
Number 3,
Liberty Flames.
And then number 4,
who's 4?
App State people. And then 5 is Tulane coming in to round out the top 5. So, this just proves how important that game is on September 28th at Boone, at App State. For the Liberty Flames and what that could mean for their chances to be in a playoff.
Let's take care of the Campbell Camels first.
Okay.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves here. You think Kyle Krantz right now, when he comes on the show, he's gonna be talking about the App State? We're gonna go after him hard about App State. He's not gonna fall for it though. But they got to take care of the Camels first.
Yeah.
But no, you're right, 100%. That when you start looking at that 4 or 5 schools, those are all solid schools. And with this whole, it's crazy when have you seen the, like, on Twitter or whatever, X, the preseason polls, and it has like playoff brackets, what it's going to be. And you see Liberty's name. The last one I saw was Liberty at 12 playing Texas at 5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, but it's just incredible. It's absolutely incredible. And so, but if the issue that you run into right now is, you have an undefeated season last year, And if you're going to be in that 12th spot, you've got no room for error.
I know.
I mean, there's just no room for error. So when you start going down the schedule and you look at the East Carolina coming to Liberty, going to App State, you had some nail biters last season. Much of the Conference some of the teams in Conference USA are going to be improved this year. So it is going to be a week in, week out grind for the Flames.
That being said, how much do you think of an emphasis will be on Liberty blowing out? You always hear this strength of schedule for Liberty, which you still don't realize who are hating on that. Liberty did have Power 5 or Power 4, I guess now you would say, schools on the schedule, but those had to change when they joined a conference. So I get don't get me fired up. The season hasn't even started. But how much, with a weak strength of schedule, how much does Liberty need to really take care of business and blow out maybe some of these, bad teams?
I mean, I think the reality, you can say, well, they just need to win, right? But I think with the reality of it now is yes. The answer to the question is yes. And if you're Coach Chadwell, you run a fine line there. Okay, so let's say you play a weaker team and you may not play great, but you're beating them, and you have the game in hand. Well, do you leave your starters in for the whole game and risk injury in order to score another 2 touchdowns at the end of the game so it looks better? Or is like, hey, you've got to believe if you can get the win over, take care of business in the other Conference USA and the other games, get the win over East Carolina, get the win over App State, and you go undefeated, that you're right there and you should have the opportunity to be in the playoff. But I do agree with you. I think there is like what are they, style points,
right?
Like there is that style points factor that's going to be a part. It's going to be a part of this season. And
what was interesting last Friday during one of the press conferences, Willie Korn, the quarterback's coach, mentioned how comfortable he is with Ryan Berger, the App State transfer quarterback.
Yeah.
How comfortable he is already in this offense, and obviously it's Caden Salter's job, and he is the starting quarterback of the Flames, but. Like you said, if they do go up big and you put a Ryan Berger in there and not risk the injury with Caden Salter, a mobile guy, then, maybe those style points can continue to rack up because you have that depth. Depth is another thing that we've heard a lot on the defensive side. We'll talk with Kyle Krantz about that in just a moment. But it's hard for me to ask Joe Yock a lot of questions because he's been fly fishing in Montana. I'm like, hey, so what have you seen from the defense and the competition
at
practice?
We still got 19 days
I don't have Matt Warner to give me the research of all the numbers and all of that. Listen, and then Joe Yock has just been has a farmer's tan over
let
here.
Let me give you some tidbits. Let me give you a couple tidbits right now. Here's what it's going to be for Liberty this season. And this is why I think it's so important. When you talk about depth, right? The ability, especially on the defensive side of the ball, the ability to play more people for quality reps, quality second team reps for a sustained amount of time is only going to help you with the opportunity to establish yourselves as a playoff contender where you have the ability to compete. Because Liberty's moved to the world of the big dogs.
Yeah.
They're moved to that world. And if you want to live in that world, then you have to have quality depth at multiple positions in order to succeed in that world. So when you get in some of these games, and this is one of the things I'm interested to talk to Coach Krantz about, is you get in some of these games, how many guys are we rotating through? Because if you're thin and you get a couple injuries, it could end up being a long season.
I can't remember the number Skylar McGee said on Friday of how many it was TJ Bush in the Oregon game, but it was like how many snaps he played. It was like insane. So when you have those guys rotating in, especially when you're playing a team like Oregon, obviously the Flames won't see a team like that in the regular season, maybe like you said in the playoffs with that bracket, but they learned a lot from that game and the Fiesta Bowl. So I think that it'll be interesting to see how that depth helps them moving
100%.
forward. Okay, a couple more watch lists that some of the Flames landed on. Obviously, Caden Salter has been on pretty much any watch list out there. He's landed on the Davey O'Brien Award preseason watch list, and then Jordan White, the Remington Trophy preseason watch list for the top center in college football. I keep trying to itch my arm because Joe Yock and I, are just in misery over here.
Look at that.
Look, Joe's hand is his wedding ring is about to pop off because we got stung by Yellow Jackets separately. They just must be out and about this weekend. Mine was Friday, so my arm was like 4 times the size, and now it's down. But Joe got stung yesterday, and that
I know I didn't get stung. I was trying to help this old lady across the street, and some guy tried to attack her, and man, you look at my hand, you should see that guy's face.
Oh my gosh. You are so ridiculous. But I just can't believe how that little bitty bug
That's unbelievable.
can just like swell up an entire arm. I'm just letting you know the itching is about to begin for you. It's awful.
I couldn't play pickleball last night. I played 2 games.
Oh my gosh. You know what we
I
call
played
this,
2
people?
games and I had to quit.
A first world problem.
Yeah.
All right. Gosh, I couldn't play pickleball. Like what? Yeah. Moving on to the NFL, Demario Douglas is no longer wearing that red non-contact jersey. So that's good news for him. He was battling a hand injury. Maybe the Yellow Jackets are going around up there in New England as well. The Patriots have a joint practice with the Eagles on Tuesday, and then we'll play them on Thursday in a preseason game. I'm not sure. We didn't see Demario in that first preseason game, so I don't believe we did. So I don't think that we're going to see much of him moving forward. But little teaser, Matt and the crew are actually down in Jacksonville, Florida right now, getting some support interviews for that Demario Douglas story that'll be coming your way.
Nice.
In the next couple weeks. So
Matt Warner on the move is electric.
On the move. They're doing 4 alumni stories on the road right now. So we got some great stuff coming your way in Flame Central. Under center with the Titans, Malik Willis went 5 for 7, 38 yards passing, 4 rushing attempts for 42 yards. 28 yards was one of his long rushes. So I don't know. Do we see him? I haven't really, to be honest with you, especially with the Olympics going on. I didn't watch much preseason
I watched
football.
a lot of Olympics. Did you watch a lot of Olympics?
I did.
love the Olympics.
I know.
I love watching the Olympics.
It's just, I had a missed calling, you know?
And you know who's the best in the Olympics? Rowdy Gaines on the call for swimming. I love that guy. He's awesome.
But I don't know.
Willis is gonna be,
Malik Willis?
Malik Willis is going to be the number 2 quarterback.
Over Mason, huh?
Malik Willis is the number 2 quarterback for the Tennessee Titans. And when it all goes down, tell the folks where you heard it first. Go ahead and tell them, Emily. Just tell them.
For the people, with the people, for the people, of the people.
You heard it first. You heard it first.
You heard it first from...
Say it.
Yak Talk, baby. Okay. All right. Let's continue with football and go to our interview with Kyle Krantz. All right. We are here with co-defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, Kyle Krantz. How in the world did you avoid going on the Flame Central podcast?
For this long. Unbelievable.
I don't know. I'm glad to be here today, though.
He looks terrified.
Defense. I love defense.
There is no script.
No script.
We don't need a script.
No,
there's no script.
We don't need a script. We've talked to you a little bit in some of the press conferences. Joe has been on vacation, so he's missed those. But to just keep it or get him up to speed, what can you tell us about how different this defense is this season?
Well, we have a lot of new faces that have shown up. And, some of them were on the roster. They didn't play much last year, and we got some transfers and freshmen in. They're competing really hard. I don't know how much different we'll look schematically, but we will have new faces that have really done well in camp so far. So
I'm excited.
Coach, when you look at the defense, I mean, obviously last year you come in here and it's like, okay, everything's sort of thrown at you, and then there was a change after spring ball. And so now you go into fall camp, you're trying to implement new things. I know last year you tried to keep it as vanilla as you could just because it was also new to everybody. How far have you seen the defense come from where you were at the end of last year through spring ball and now into fall camp? Where do you see the biggest differences in where you are at right now?
Well, we met as a staff this morning, and our staff does a phenomenal job. So the continuity within our position coaches, our support staff, has really helped us, help the players in terms of knowing what to do, knowing how to do it. Whereas last year, I think we was kind of just, at the seat of our pants.
Yeah.
Now there's some background knowledge, some base knowledge of, all right, these are the rules. This is why we call it. And I think our guys have learned this is what this call is good for. This is what this call is bad for. Right? And that base understanding helps them play their positions better. Right? But our coaches have done a phenomenal job with our players and getting them to this point.
Gonna give a shout out to Ed Lane. He asked a really good question to Skylar McGee in the press conference on Friday. What did you learn from that Fiesta Bowl game against Oregon?
Well, I think it was a eye-opening for everyone, just how talented they were and how far along we need to go to get there. Now, are we as far away as everyone thinks, as the score might say? No. We still have plenty of work to do, but it was a great learning experience of what we need to do to prepare ourselves to play in a big game and win a big game, because we don't want to just play in them, we want to win them. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, but it was a good experience for those that were here, and then I think the guys that played in it, you see it through spring and through fall camp, have done a really good job of like, we need everyone. We have 50-some players in the defensive room.
Yeah.
We need every single person. So you can see the old guys, old players helping the young players, like, we need you.
Right.
Come on, and not so much individualized. We're a group, a team, connection, family. That's kind of what we've gotten to. And those young guys, the older players have really helped with that.
How close are you when you look at the defense now in year 2? Everybody knows that with the 12-team playoff, and Liberty fans know, like, that's the goal, is to get into that playoff. How close are you, or how happy are you right now with the quality of depth that you have overall when you look at the positions defensively and where you're at, and comfortability-wise, like, hey, I'm willing to put this third-string linebacker into the game. He might only get 5-6 reps, but I'm willing to do that. Where are you at overall with the quality of depth defensively?
I mean, I think as a staff, we're really pleased with where we're at. So, again, we added a bunch of new pieces, and one of the main points to our players day one, the meeting that we had, was we got to be selfless, right? Last year, we had guys playing way too many snaps, and you could see as the year went on, we wore down. So we need everyone to play snaps. So the competitive depth across the board has been really good, and it's going to help us into the season. Now, what we have to do is put our ego aside. What's best for the Red Smoke? What's best for the defense? I want to play 50 snaps, but I'm only playing 35, right? But if that's what's best for the defense, that's what we got to have. So our rule is, if you're the best, you'll start. If you're good enough, you'll play. And they're working really hard right now to earn their spots.
But do you feel
Red Smoke?
The Red Smoke, man.
The Red Smoke.
Don't mess with the Red Smoke. But do you like, and you know this from calling the defense and being, in the fire, and that is, when you're playing an East Carolina, you're playing an App State, you're playing, Western Kentucky, whoever it may be, you got big games, and it's the third quarter. And do you feel, I guess you'll find more of this out as the season goes along, but what is your level of confidence to actually go to those second-tier guys in order that a TJ Bush or somebody doesn't have to play 80 snaps in a game?
Right now, I'm confident. And the beautiful thing, we've had 9 practices. We have 25 before the first game total, right? So we got we're a third of the way done with camp, right? So we still have time to build that confidence. And I don't know if it's so much mine or our staff's. I mean, the players have to have confidence to believe that we can go in there and we can play, and I'm not going to let the team down, because I know what I'm supposed to do. I know how to do it. I'm going to do it at a really high level. So I think there's confidence with the staff, far more than we had last year at this point in time, but we still got a long way to go.
With the competition and just like fall camp, it's getting a little edgy out there?
It's edgy.
I've heard there's some competition heating up.
It's good, yeah. And the nice thing, again, we play, our offense is phenomenal, and they give you so many problems. So there's competition, offense and defense, right? But there's also competition within the position groups, and these guys are battling for reps. I mean, you got 2 guys running out at the same time. Oh, you got to stop them. Yeah. We'll get you. Everyone's going to get equal reps and equal opportunities to earn their spot, and that's what you want to have. Yeah. So we're working there.
So a lot of watch lists all across the board on both sides of the ball, and then you have the weight of the playoffs this season, and then what you guys did last year. Do you feel that weight of the expectations? I mean, maybe not some of the like transfers and young guys that weren't here last year, but for the coaching staff and for these returning players, is there that weight of all these expectations?
I don't think so. I think the expectations for us is how can we be our very best every single day, and that's been the message of the team from Coach Chadwell, is we're going to pursue our best. So the only expectation we have on ourselves is to be our very best today in practice 10 at 3 o'clock when we go practice. And beyond that, we can't control watch lists. We can't control the playoffs. All we can do is be our best today and try to stack them up so that when that time comes, right, we're there. But right now, the expectation is, can I give my all today for Liberty?
Coach, if you had to do a draft, defensive draft. Okay?
This is not. Are you talking about the Flames
Stop.
fantasy?
No.
Because I do need.
I'm
some
not.
insight on
You
some
think I'm
guys.
going to get that? You think I'm going to get that information on camera? No, that information's coming off camera.
Okay, so you're
Yeah.
going to say if you could do a draft.
No. Listen, if you do a draft and you had to pick, you have the best players to choose from, right? And you had to pick a position defensively where you're going to take your first pick. What position would that be?
Ooh.
What do you think is the most important?
A dominant D tackle or a dominant pass rusher.
So a pass rusher or the inside guys?
You don't have to cover them as long if you're.
Yeah, if you're in their face.
It's like, when you were little, you played football and you had 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and then 4 you could rush.
Yeah.
We want 1 Mississippi rusher. Like
Right.
1 Mississippi and they got to throw it.
Yeah, they gotta
so
get
you
it
got a good dominant pass rusher, you can make it
So
easy.
with that being said, how do you feel about your 2 edge guys right now?
Really well. And you know what? I don't think we have more than 2. I think we have 4 or 5 that can really rush the passer well.
That helps.
Outside, and then I think we're 4 deep inside that can run and play and have had really good camp.
What
thus
position
far.
group? I don't know. It might be them, but what position group has maybe impressed you or just like caught your eye? You didn't expect them to be performing so well.
I don't know that I wouldn't expect them, but I've been really happy with our linebacker group. Again, we have veteran guys in there. We got Joseph Carter and Jerome Jolly, and then you add in Jamar Brown, you add in Taylor Jackson, and a couple of young guys, and it's iron sharpening iron. They're working every single day. I'm up here on Saturdays, and they're in there watching tape on their own, studying. They're calling me. I'm in Florida with my wife and kids, and they're calling me, asking questions. Well, Coach, what if they do this? And so that's been really, really good, and they've all made themselves better. There's been a competitiveness in there, but it hasn't overtaken the room where they're not helping one another.
Right. If you missed our conversation last week, we had on linebackers Coach Lynham, so Josh Lynham. So be sure to look back if you want to learn more about the linebackers.
Who's a couple of the transfer guys that you've had come in that you've sort of shined for you?
Mike Jarvis is doing a good job up front from Wisconsin. Taylor Jackson, Jamar Brown, Ethan Crisp, and Aiden Vaughn, all at linebacker, have had really good camps thus far. And in the secondary, Alex Oliver, Charles Yates have all done well. We've been really pleased with the transfers, and the awesome thing is they bought in all the way into Coach Showell and our team's culture of pursuing their best, and then the red smoke and who we are and what we want to be about and how we want to practice. They bought all the way in, and it's been really positive to see.
Have you seen yourself defensively really graduate to that next level from a scheme standpoint of being able, okay, last year we were this, now we can be this and also this and something else? Like, how do you balance that out, and how much more have you added in from where you were at this point last year?
We've added in a lot more, and the awesome thing, how we know as a staff that they're handling it, is we don't have a bunch of busts right now.
Right.
Like, our guys are executing really well. So it's been positive for them to take on that much more volume of defense and be able to handle it.
Yeah.
So it's been good for us that way. Yeah.
So when I was in the offices last week, Coach Lynham, I asked him, like, what would you grade, last year's defense, and then what would you grade it right now in fall camp, and what would you grade it, like what its potential would be? And the question just went off the rails.
It did.
Yeah. Coach Lynham had no idea what I was saying. It had nothing to do with the person asking the question.
Coach, let's just say that's not the first time.
So, but you said, we were talking a little in the office, what would you rate or grade the defense in those 3 categories?
Right now, I would tell you we're incomplete. We get an I.
I like that.
Incomplete. So
keep the expectations low.
we can determine how good we want to be, right?
Right.
And it's a daily thing of studying, preparing, taking care of our body, and it's going to class. It's doing all the right things. Like, to be a championship team, we got to do it, and it's going to be determined by our actions and our behaviors over and over and over again.
I always forget about class. They got to go to class, and then they're all going to come back, and then there's going to be no parking. But anyways, I digress. You transferred. You came to Liberty last season from Missouri. How did you connect with Chadwell and the staff?
So Coach Fearball, our safeties coach, had worked with Coach Chadwell at Coastal, and we kind of connected there and stayed in touch. And my wife and our kids, we love Lynchburg and we love being here. We couldn't feel more fortunate or blessed to be Flames. So, we've got a windy path the last few years, but we're so glad it brought us here.
2 of the cutest kids in the Father's Day feature. Oh my gosh, like so cute.
And Emily, when this brand new staff came in, right? You knew who the first person to be powered by Alcova Mortgage was? Kyle
Wow.
Krantz, the original right there.
Okay.
That is.
That's why we do this.
We appreciate
Everything's
you, Coach.
for Joe.
We appreciate
We
it.
didn't get the Liberty discount though.
Yeah, I know that. Well, that was
let's
before.
run it back.
No, that was before we had the deal set up. Now we had deals. I let everybody know that when you go to refinance, Liberty discount right there.
I want the big check.
We'll get the big check. Well, hey, Coach, I'll bring the flamethrower. We're shooting the flamethrower.
No, Brad Queen is in the house, and no flamethrower
No.
is allowed.
Time out
on
about Brad
campus.
Queen. Time out. This is this is a great story. It's a great story. So I call up Brad one day.
I can edit this out, Brad.
I call up Brad one day, and I'm like, hey, Brad, I got this flamethrower. We're doing the deal with Brylan Green and Quentin Cooley for Alcova Mortgage, NIL deal, right? And we got this flamethrower, but I need to shoot it. I got to have a place to shoot it. Like, can you give me permission to shoot it on campus somewhere? And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, there's no way that they're going to let me shoot this thing off campus, right?
Didn't you get Coach Chadwell in it too?
Yeah, Coach Chad was all for it. He saw the flamethrower and he's like, hey, can we use that thing for recruiting, right? And I'm like, absolutely. So Brad, I can just feel Brad's wheels. They're just churning, right? Just churning. He goes, hey, why don't we just take it out in front of the stadium in the concourse and just fire it up out there? And I'm thinking to myself, could you imagine if we were out in the concourse and it was
Set
like
Williams Stadium on fire?
Like the police sirens would come, they'd become rolling in from every direction. But I was like, I don't think we can do that, Brad, but I like how you think.
Right. Why not?
I had a very different understanding of that story from Brad, but we'll let Joe along. So I've been asking all the coaches this year, how do you one-up the post-game celebrations? I'm thinking live animals. Matt Warner does have a contact in Saudi Arabia if you need a camel.
Yeah, I don't know. We haven't got our designations yet, so they'll be hard to beat. And when you get one, you just don't want to let everyone down.
I know.
You just got to do a good job with it. And
have you
guys
ever
do it
seen
every week?
anything like that?
No.
Like in your journey of coaching?
No, I haven't. No.
I love it.
But it's a blast. And again, like our players started playing football when they're 4 or 5. This is a child's game. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we can't have a little bit of fun
have a little bit of
with what we're doing, then we're in the wrong place.
You got to have a little bit of fun.
Love it. Anything else from you, Joe?
I don't think so. I'm just excited. I'm so
pumped.
excited to watch this defensive play. I mean,
I have dropped that it might be the best defense in Liberty history.
they're talking about that.
Incomplete.
Incomplete.
Potential's a bad word, right?
Potential's a bad word.
Okay. Coach, thanks so much for joining us. Best of
Awesome,
luck
Coach.
this season.
Appreciate you.
I still need to get a few inside pointers on my Flames fantasy defense, but it looks like we're going to have a lot of options with that depth this season. Really pumped up to see this defense.
Defense is going to be much improved. Defense will be much improved. They're going to be bigger. They're going to be stronger. They're going to be faster. And they're going to be deeper. And so I got to see them in the spring some, and you could already see the improvement in the spring. And so now this fall, I think you're going to – and the thing about when, like, I had the opportunity on the bowl game to sit in the meeting with the night before the game, sit in the defensive meeting with Kyle Krantz and Skylar McGee, the whole defensive staff. What they do a great job of is that they're organized and they're detailed and they are clear in assignment football with the players. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes you play a school like Oregon, right? You can know where everybody is and where you got to be, but sometimes they just got guys that it's hard to stop them. Bo Nick's the quarterback, hard to stop, right? But now with this more depth, better, more cohesiveness amongst the unit defensively, being here another year, I really, really think, and as organized as they are and understanding the assignments in football defensively, that this defense is going to take a major step forward. We know what we're going to get with a Jamie Chadwell offense, but I think where you're going to be the happiest to see is the improvement on the defensive side of football.
I said the other day, I don't remember if you were on the podcast. You just like kind of pick and choose when you come on now. But
coming from Miss Italy and everywhere else we go.
That was 2 years ago.
Guy goes to Montana.
I went on a vacation 2 years ago, and I'm still talking about it. You guys are still talking about it. Could this be? I said something about it being like, this could be the best Flames defense we've ever seen. And Matt looked at me like I'm crazy.
I don't think you're crazy. I mean, I've called you crazy about some other times, but no, I think this. I'm interested. Like I said, I've been gone. I've been out doing my thing on vacation, but settle back in now. So I'm looking forward to getting out to some of the practices and to see where they were in the spring. You can see the potential for this defense. Now, I really look forward this week to getting to practice and and talking with Kyle, getting a view of, hey, here's where we're at now, because this defense has an opportunity to be really good. They've gotten some good transfer players in. They've recruited well. They've developed well. Everybody knows that Chad Scott does a great job, and his staff, Adrian Dunn, that whole crew, they do a great job in the offseason with the training and the speed development, strength development. So I am, if I'm to pick one thing that I'm most excited about for Liberty Flames this year, is it Caden Salter, all the different people going? No, it's this defense. I'm most excited to see this defense play and step it up.
We want to know what you're most excited about for the 2024 Liberty Flames season. So be sure to send us an email or ask any questions, flamecentral@liberty.edu. Okay, so some big news. Another Liberty Flame is headed to the bigs.
Going to the big leagues.
Will Wagner has been called up to the Blue Jays. Remember, he was traded from Houston to Toronto, has been in that AAA group in Buffalo. So he just got called up. Listen to some of these numbers. This is between
Back it up with the stats.
This is some
Austin.
Matt Warner stuff right here.
Back it up with the stats.
This is Sugarland and Buffalo, okay, in AAA for Will Wagner this season. He has had 286 at-bats, 90 hits, 6 home runs, 43 RBI, 59 walks, 37 strikeouts. So he's hitting .315. And yeah, like I said, he is on his way to Toronto. I think they're in LA. I actually, this is all Matt Warner. You all know, I'm not your baseball girl. So are they in LA? I don't know where Toronto is right now. Let's look it up.
Where Toronto is?
Where they're playing right now.
So he's going up right now.
Toronto, he's on the way. He's
on the plane.
He's on the, they're in LA playing the Angels. Matt Warner is probably just beating his head, what in the world did I leave these two up to? He's going to LA to meet his Blue Jays out there. So will be exciting. Frazier Ellard had 3 appearances with the White Sox. I don't think he's been back on the mound. Frazier.
Down goes Frazier.
And then
down goes Frazier.
But then Mason Fluharty is, I believe, knocking on the door for the big leagues as well. So that's awesome for former Flames.
Lots of action.
Look at all the, added.
Lots of action.
Conversation. You know what this means? So if he's moving from Buffalo to Toronto, that means he might be in the market to buy a new home.
Bang. Do we do loans in Canada? No. If we could, would we do it for him? Yes. But we don't. But, Emily.
I did my best.
You tried to set that up for me.
That was really good, though.
The Canadian dollar isn't worth as much as the American dollar. But we're not going to go there. But if you are looking, interest rates have dropped.
I know.
They're dropping. So, but you know what we're not going to do? Here's what we're not going to do. We're not just going to, interest rates drop. I got to refinance right now. You're going to have all these mortgage companies out there that things have been a little bit slow for them. So the second they get a rate drop, boom, they're on you to refinance. Well, hold the phones. Hold the phones. Let's make sure we do this the right way. Let's get the right deal. Understand your closing costs. Understand your interest rate. All those things. And Liberty employees, Liberty alumni, Alcova.com/Liberty. Save up to $5,000 on your refinance closing costs.
Wow.
It's the best. It's the best deal in town. And we're so thankful for our relationship with Liberty University and the Alumni Association. And we're excited to take care of all the Liberty folks will help you save money and treat you first class at Alcova Mortgage.
Guess what?
Alcova.com/Liberty.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. Okay, so story time. We always leave a little pocket of time at the end of the show.
Story time.
Because I know you guys all want to hear about Joe's vacation.
Oh, that's great.
What did you text me about your...
What?
When you...
Oh,
Joey?
Tell them the name.
Butter?
Whoa, you got to set it up. You got to set it up.
Okay.
Why? Because I went to Whitefish, the big mountain. I went to the big mountain, Whitefish, in Montana, right? And went mountain biking with Gracie and her boyfriend. And so her boyfriend's disgusting on a mountain bike. This dude's doing all kinds of stuff.
That's the hashtag bottom line.
And that's hashtag bottom line.
Yeah.
But I taught the kids a little something about mountain biking, right? And they gave me a name. I didn't give myself this name. They gave me the name.
Okay, hopefully.
Tell them the name.
Hopefully I'll remember.
And when I get off the mountain, tell them the name.
Hopefully I'll remember to put this photo over this part in the show because the picture of Joe Joey Butterberm Huckleberry Switchback is what they call me on the trails. And
Look at that. That's okay. There we go. Sure. I might be on a rent-a-bike. Sure. I might have the big shin guards. Sure. The kids might have been
my gosh.
They might have been making fun of me. Yeah,
look
okay.
at the shin guards.
Look at those shin guards.
Oh, and the wrists or the elbow pads.
Yeah.
Oh
sure.
my gosh.
That might have been
And
the
he's
case.
wearing like a motocross helmet.
You better wear a motocross. I'm gonna tell you what. That's no
All right,
joke.
Joe Burns.
Joey Butterburn Huckleberry Switchback is what they call me. Joey Butterburn Huckleberry Switchback. What a trip out to Montana. If you've never gone to Glacier National Park, they call it the Road to the Sun. And I was like, well, the Road to the Sun, what is that? Right? Well, guess what? When you drive up the Road to the Sun, and it is unbelievable. And I'm not lying to you. And that had my wife was dying laughing because she was in the back seat, I was in the front seat, and I wasn't driving. And I'm telling you what, you start going up this thing and you look down and it is a thousands of feet drop. It scared me to death.
Yeah, I don't know if I like
was
that. I'm not a huge
petrified.
fan of heights.
And then you know what happened? We finished our hike, went down to Hidden Lake, unbelievable. Jumped in the lake, God's cold tub is what I call it. It was like 52 degrees. Whew. It was something else.
That's the best.
I jumped off a
cold
big
plunge.
bridge. I jumped off a big bridge there. That was fun. But then we came back and we went back. We had a picnic. And so we laid a picnic out on the rock right on the side of the road, watching the sunset. And all of a sudden, these big horned sheep come walking down the side like 50 yards from us.
Did you ride one?
No, listen, this is crazy. So it's like the Big Daddy, like Big Daddy,
Yeah.
Big Daddy's leading the crew. He's leading the squad, right? And he looked at his squad and he put up his paw and he gave him the wave. We're going this way, right? And all of a sudden, this big sucker comes walking down and he's like, they're coming right at us. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And so your heart rates, I mean, these things are massive.
Yeah.
The thing walks across the road and is 5 feet from us in the back. And my wife and family are like sitting there looking at them. I'm like, get in the car. This thing's going to charge us. And I'm panicking.
Can you imagine if we had to report breaking news that Joe was taken out by a sheep?
I went down a sheep. I went tumbling down the side of a mountain from a sheep.
Not like a mountain
Yeah.
biking accident, but
No,
like he was
the sheep
taken
got
out
me.
by a sheep.
Sheep got me. And then all the full family
Oh
came
my
across behind him.
gosh.
It was unbelievable. Unbelievable trip. Go
Yeah.
to Glacier National Park in
All
Montana.
right.
It's unreal.
Well, some of us don't get vacation time
Oh,
here because we
stop.
have the Flame
Miss
Central
vacation.
podcast all summer long. But we're grateful to provide that for you guys. Hey, the band will be back together. I think we're getting Willie Korn next week, but I don't want to make any promises. That is the plan. So we have a lot of questions for him. We were actually supposed to get Willie Korn last week, but we had to reschedule because some people go on vacation during football season.
I like calling him Dr. Korn.
So Dr. Korn will be, will
Willie
hopefully
Korn.
be on the show. And then we will announce the Flames Fantasy League order of the draft order on next week's show. And Matt will be back with all of his advanced stats that make this podcast worthwhile. All right. And then we'll have some maybe like more insight from Joe because maybe he'll go out to practice this week.
Yeah.
For Joe, I'm Emily. We'll see you right back here next week.
Peace.
Watch out for those yellow jackets.